Hello and welcome to Wolf-N-Shorty Reviews. Today I'm going to do a review on my make your own e-juice. So I've been doing this for just about a month and a half. The goal is, since I quit smoking in April in order to do bariatric surgery, then I went big time into vaping. Started off with standard little stick ones that you have the adjustable bottom, has the itty bitty little tanks. They worked fine, but they're a mouth to lung hit. I was used to that from smoking, but I wanted to get more out of it. So I went ahead and switched, got a standard mod box smaller than this one. It was an E-Leaf Ice Stick 50 watt. Had a U Crown Jewel tank, and then got the Cleto Aspire, or the Aspire Cleto afterwards. It worked, but now I'm ready to advance into making my own coils. And so I figured, instead of spending $20 for these coils, a pack of 5 every time I run out, which they last about 2 to 3 weeks, I'd switch juice constantly, so it adjusted some there. I decided to go ahead and upgrade, so I got this Fushai, or whatever it's called. It's the 213 watt. It'll go up to 213 watts. It does temperature control. Has a lot of features I have no use for currently. I'll eventually figure out that. Our brick and mortar store we go to in Springfield, which is Vapor World, they're based out of Northwest Arkansas, and they're Joplin, Springfield, I think Lamar, Mount Vernon has one, so they're all over. They had a deal that if you have at least 800 points, you get 99% off whatever you order for one item. So this was 70 bucks, and I got it for basically free. So it's a dual battery system. I've also ordered 2 batteries online. They seem to work just fine. It's a good setup, but it drinks the juice. I will go through, I believe this is the 3 ml bottle. You get about 2.5 mils out of this tank. They have a fatty one, the fishbowl style, which will come with my rebuild kit. I'll do a full review on all that. And I'll go through about 4 or 5 tanks a day, maybe more. Depends on how much nicotine and what the flavor is. So I had to start mixing my own. Looked around, finally found out that our best option for doing our own juice actually would come from a mix. We did some Amazon, and we've done Wizard Labs to get all the stuff we need. To start with, we were able to get this 1 gallon jug of propylene glycol, or PG, on Amazon through Essential Depot for $28.99 free shipping. And I've actually made about 240 milliliter little bottles, a total of about 240 milliliters, and I've only used down to here. Pretty impressive. Then we also went ahead and got the vegetable glycerin, the VG, for $28.97 for 1 gallon with Prime shipping. So, and that one was from also Essential Depot. Great deal. All of our flavors are generally vegetable glycerin based, so we actually use a lot more propylene glycol, so that's why propylene is a little bit lower. Along with it, we also picked up through Amazon a bunch of these little real flavoring units. They're almost 30 mil, or 1 ounce. These are from Real Flavors, the name brand. That's what it's called on Amazon. These were $5.95 with free shipping each. Now our total order from them, we got 2 of the watermelon, we got a pina colada, coconut, which I actually mixed those mostly, a strawberry lemonade, as well as, there's my coconut one. So we had those basic flavors. Not a whole lot, just something to try and test to begin our process. The flavors are okay. I've got to say, it's not quite. We also got peach, so I already used it all in one. The peach does not taste very good. I put it at exactly 10% because I did a 60 mil. So it took 1 ounce to do 60 mils. Maybe it was a 120. I forget what it was. It was a big one. Not much flavor. Strawberry lemonade at 20% tasted decent, but it's starting to kind of age out. It's been sitting for a while. Been using it some, and it just, I think, it's gotten a little bit too much flavor dispersal and just kind of deadened the flavor. Coconut is good. Pina colada wasn't the greatest, but blending 20% pina colada and 5% coconut made it a little bit better. Coconut at 20 is fine, but not strong and really hit you. And watermelon actually has almost it's like they put a sweetener in it. It's a sweet candy type watermelon. Not exactly the style I like. I'm really happy with the original flavors we got at brick and mortar store, which was, rich, deep. It tasted like a juicy watermelon. But now they're also dead in the flavors. It's something with the regulations. It just doesn't taste right. That's why we started making our own. Also, is Shorty can't stand the premix ones that you get, kind of like DR2. These are all my homemade. I reutilized them, boiled them off, and then I'm using them. She doesn't like these. She liked the house juices, and they just don't taste right anymore. They're too mild. They're almost a waste. So I went ahead and decided to go ahead and get the stuff, make our own juice. She doesn't vape enough to make it worth it, but I do excessively. We also ordered the syringes. It was a 9-pack. Comes with 10 milliliter, 3 milliliter, 1 milliliter, and the 14 and 18 gauge blunt tip, like that. So it works to extract certain amounts of the flavoring or the PG or VG. Here's the nice big 12. Then we have our 3 mil. And I actually haven't used the 1 mil. I attempted to use the little 1 mil for the nicotine. It is just too difficult to get it to suck up because the nicotine I got was VG based, and I have to keep it in the fridge so it doesn't go bad, and it becomes pretty much impossible to suck out of it. So I went ahead and got all the stuff in, started working. Made a bunch of juice. I'm not happy with it. It's not really the flavors because these are not vaping flavors. These are cooking flavors generally. So our nicotine from Wizard Labs, 120 milliliter, organic from natural tobacco, from the tobacco leaves, 100 milligram nicotine. So I can use very little of this to boost any of my stuff. I actually made a 60 milliliter of nicotine. It's a 60% blend because this plus 4%, do 60 mils of this, or 6 mils plus 4 mils of, I used PG to thin it, and I made my own 60 milliliter, or 60 milligram nicotine booster I carry with me. So I put the 0 nicotine juice in, I run it. If I want a little more nicotine, I dump in about 9 drops. If I'm starting to feel that nicotine build up in my lungs and hard to breathe, I just don't use any more. I add more juice and I'm fine. I'm going to start doing this, putting my nicotine into my actual juices at about 3% or 3 milligram, and then if I need more I'll boost it. That way I don't have to always boost. But this stuff is exceedingly thick, so next time I go for PG, I try to go all natural and everything, get it as good as I can because Shorty cannot stand nicotine. I figured maybe it'd be better if it was this. She still won't do it, so that's on her choice. I'm gonna stick with doing nicotine. So we got that. It was $15.99 plus $3.59 shipping, so it cost us $19.58, so less than $20 for more than enough nicotine to hold me over probably for the rest of the year. Well, it's mid-December, so most of next year. So this time around, I was ready to get some more juice because I'm running a little bit low and I want to change up the flavors. Then we went ahead and went through Wizard Labs again. They have a free shipping over $65 order. So we went ahead and ordered $67.50 worth of juice. Now we have 2 candy cane, 2 of the chocolate coconut almond bar, Almond Joy, 2 extreme ice, 'cause I like that cool hit, 1 juicy peach, I'm hoping to be better than this peach, and 2 of the watermelon. Hopefully it'll also be proper. These are all in, most looks like VG. Now that one looks awfully thin. Where's the watermelon? Yeah, I'd say candy cane is PG, extreme ice is PG, chocolate coconut almond bar is PG, and both the ripe banana and juicy peach are all PG. So the only thing that's a VG is the watermelon. So it'll give a little more sweetness in it, but hopefully it's not too bad. It's not too candy-like. And this is what we're getting. We spent almost $6 for 1 ounce. Watermelon was $6 for a 4-ounce bottle. So definitely Wizard Labs is a good one to go to. Now this is Wizard Labs, but it's from the Flavor Apprentice is what most of these are. We also have Flavor Wizard is the extreme ice and the candy cane, but the rest of them are the Flavor Apprentice. So it's a hell of a deal to go through Wizard Labs. They also now have CBD oil, which I've never tried, can't say anything about it, but it's expensive as hell. Not something I'm looking to get into anytime soon, mostly because I can't justify it is 500 milligram CBD oil in 10 milliliters. It's $95. And you're supposed to bump them a little bit with you just dumping in something else and change it up, but that is just way too expensive. For 1500 milligram, 30 milliliter is $249. If that's what you're into, great. When I had my surgery, I was thinking about trying to get into it to see if it offset any kind of pain. So I'm not using narcotic painkillers. I had no problem with pain, and I didn't have any access to this. So it's your choice if you need it or not. If you want to try doing it, and my understanding is it's fully legal. That's why they're selling it. It does not contain THC, but it is a cannabinoid, which you get out of hemp, and it's also present in marijuana. So use it at your own risk if you choose to. It's not supposed to hit you hot with the drug test, but I'm not really willing to take the chance yet. So this is our setup. Now from Wizard Labs, when you get your bottles, it comes in a pack of 2 or 4. All of them are 4 except for this. And the entire bag is heat shrinked or heat sealed on. So it makes it very nice. So just cut it open and you are good to go. So I have a total of 10 bottles here. And I didn't know it also comes with a bag of dropper tops. So if you wanted to do this by weight or volume, if you have little measuring containers, it works. If you want to use syringes, those aren't really necessary, but it's nice to have. It's a step that I didn't realize I had in there, and it's really nice. Now my setup here, I have all my bottles I have boiled. I included the dripper tip things and the lids. Boil it all as one. Got my 2-ounce cups to help me with making the juice because the VG is a little bit thick in this room. This is kind of cold, so it becomes a pain to draw out, and the nicotine is about impossible. So I've had it out here for a little while. I'm letting it warm up to room temperature before I use it. I also have a little bowl of hot water used to wash out the syringes after each step, so I'm not putting flavors into things or mixing chemicals around, or the PG and VG. So that's kind of how it's laid out right now. I have a bunch of these little, like this is my watermelon. I'll just keep coming in here, shake it up till there's bubbles, and let it set in the drawer, closed, out of the sun, not too hot. Give it a chance to steep, and I've steeped these for about 2-3 weeks. So they're a little bit long in the steeping, I think. So I just haven't gotten to use them yet, and I don't care for the flavor. So we'll try these, see what they're like. It's always good to have your vape with you while you're doing this. So I'm not going to need these. So I figure what we will do then is I'll go through making a juice with y'all. Now I do have on... Screw you, Edge. On my computer I have a e-liquid calculator that's juiced me up. I don't have it on this computer, but I go through e-liquid.recipes.com /create. It's a free online based one. Open it up, put in what you want, and it tells you what to do. Now I'm not sure the flavor concentration I need. I've been running 20s thinking everything else was running usually 10s. I want to really bump the flavor so it tastes great. Well, these are better flavors, I believe, and a lot of people I've seen are saying put this at about a 8 to 13%. So I figure I'll probably start off, do a few at 10%, and then I'll change it up as I go. If I need a little more, bump it a little bit further, and it's trial and error. It's all that this is, just you try a little bit, you see what you like, go to something else if it doesn't, change it up, add more. Everything's up to personal taste. Now when it comes to my flavorings, extreme ice, I'm not sure if I want to put it in as a additive to a flavor yet, because I'm not sure what these flavors taste like. I don't want to change them. So I'll actually make a flavor boost out of this one. So I'll get 30 mils of just extreme ice, and I can use it whenever I want, bump something or add it to something so I can get that icy flavor without worrying about actually wasting any good flavors I'd have. I need one of those. Watermelon, juicy peach, extreme ice, candy cane, ripe banana, chocolate coconut bar. So I have 6 bottles here of all different flavors. And what do you know? I got 6 small bottles to make juice out of. Looks like it's a win. So what I'm going to do is move this camera down, give it a better view onto what I'm doing. Move it back a bit. So this is the way it's set up. Move all that stuff back a little ways. Now, I'm going to change this up so I'm making 30 mils. Desired strength down to 3 milligrams for nicotine. I'll go and show you what this looks like. This is the recipe set up. So I've got 30 mil, 3% nicotine, not adding any water, vodka, or PGA to thin this. I've tried the 70-30 and it seems to be a little, it burns out quicker and I don't like the flavor as much, so I'll bump this to a probably 45-55. My nicotine strength is 100 milligrams. PG content of nicotine, mine's 100% VG. And add a flavor. Now the first one we will make, I think, will be, let's do an extreme ice. That seems like it's the right one to start with. So we can put in if we want to. I normally don't add any of that. And we will start it at 10%. Now you go on down here and you can save them if you log in and use whatever information you want for it. So for this I'm going to need 0.9 milliliters of the nicotine. I need PG at 10.5 milliliters, VG at 15.6 milliliters, and my ice at 3 milliliters. Now I could always switch it up and, you know, whatever I have, you know, if my nicotine level is actually, the strength of it is, some people do a 24. And now it's completely changed up to where I need 3.75 milliliters of the nicotine to get it down to 3 in this mix. Which, I don't like that idea. I want to maximize my usage. So I went for the highest I could. It makes it a lot less being used at a time. And now I can save it and have much more use for it. It's a little more dangerous using that, but that's life. So, back to what we're doing. I think for the ice, I will do, even though it's not really a frosted glass. I use my little classified e-liquids, which was plush. It's a banana souffle, which I might say that one for banana just because it does say banana souffle. EMP by Dizzy Vapes, one of my favorites. This one's like a grape menthol. It's a good one to use. So we set it down. We will look at doing... I need to probably do the nicotine first if it will go through. It's a real pain, so we'll test it. It is recommended to use gloves. I'm not because I don't have any gloves with me, and I have it actually broken open. Originally, you just poked a single hole in it. It was just way too thick to draw, so I ripped it open and was able to dump it into the bottle to make my juice. But I think this time I'll just do this and see if I can get it to come out. It's a lot better when you have it warmed up. Now I need 0.9. Gotta make sure you keep it off of your hands. I don't think it's going to kill you if it gets on your hands, but it's just not something you want on there. Now drop that in. Warming it to room temperature is necessary. Last time it wouldn't draw up at all. I spent 5 minutes just drawing on it and it wouldn't go anywhere. I want to go and put the lid on that so I don't knock it over, waste it, or get it on me. Now with this one I have the nicotine in it now. I don't want to mix that in my water until the end. So I will wipe it off. Try to get as much as I can out of it. And then I will set this aside. And I'll use this for all of them before I wash it. Now I have, let's do this one and this one. Since my flavors need 10.5 and 15.6, or my PG and VG, then I'll use these 12 milliliter syringes, and they work great. I have this one for the propylene glycol because it's got the thinner tip and it works just fine. This one's for the vegetable glycerin because it's got the bigger tip and it works pretty good. And I need the 3 for my ice, so I will use my 3 mil. Now a trick for these, since most of these syringes, you have from the 3 mil to where my finger's at, down here, you have a little bit of a gap. A lot of people will draw these up straight, but then they start getting air bubbles inside of it, so you're not precise on your measurements. So the best way to do it is pull it back just a hair, and then you draw it until the fluid hits that, and you're going to be above it with the plunger, but the fluid will be dead center. Now you have a little bit more precision. You'll still have some trapped in here, which will throw it off a little bit, but it's not enough to matter. So let's do the extreme ice first. Now this one doesn't come sealed at all. I haven't opened them all, or any of them. These came sealed, but half of them weren't sealed in. They just weren't heat shrink right. Move this over here a bit, maybe get it somewhat out of the light of the window. Alright. This will be heavily edited, so you won't know notice most of the stuff, hopefully. Now see, in here I have air bubbles, because I washed it out and it doesn't usually come out, so just open it up, shake it when you do that, as you throw it, and it will clear it out. So I need exactly 3. So I've got a small gap, drop it in, and this is running smooth. And you get it to precisely 3 mils. Now this will give me exactly 10% mix, which should be more than enough if it's a good flavor. If it shuts down the flavor a bit, it's not as good as it could be, then I'll know next time to go ahead and jump it to 15 or 13 or something. Now for this case, I'm actually going to switch it. I'm going to do those 2-ounce cups for these. I had another one for the nicotine if I needed it, but I don't think I'm going to need it as well as it worked. These are kind of a pain to use, but You need big old gallon jugs, but at the same time, it saves you a crap ton of money. And so that is your vegetable glycerin. It's a thick liquid that, when it's cold, is damn near impossible to use. It's like a very cold maple syrup when it's just a little bit chilled. And then we have our propylene glycol, which is a lot thinner. I could have just shoved the syringe into it, but as you see, our syringes, I'd have to almost go all the way into the bottle to make the syringe touch the liquid. And I don't like having it beyond about here, because I don't want a lot of junk on here. I don't want whatever's on here in the bottle. So this is our larger diameter. I'm going to move this back around, and I close up my extreme ice. Whew, it smells nice and strong. Put that over here. Large diameter for vegetable glycerin. I need 15.6. They only have 4 hash marks between 2 and 3, so that means they're 2.2 each step. So I might as well do a 10 and then do a 10.6. Yeah, it's still got a little bit of water in it. Let me clean that out. There. Give it a bit of a bump for air. Now, this might be hard to see, but I have this thing all the way to up here, and you can see the liquid slowly rising. That's what you get with this thick PG, or VG, vegetable glycerin. It's so thick and viscous that it takes forever to climb. And this is just sitting in this room. The nicotine being kept in a refrigerator made it almost impossible to draw up. So luckily it's not too hard to deal with. You just have to give it time. There. I have it exactly at 10 milliliters. Set it in, drop it down. Pain in the butt to use because it's thick. Now for this one, since I only got to do 5.6 extra, I'll take the 5 and I'll take it to the third notch, which will be 0.6. Next one will be 0.8, and then we have 6. So I need to make sure I stop at the third notch. Now I can have more room if I want to on this one because I'm not going almost to the top. You have to be able to see what you're doing fairly clearly. And if you go a little over, just dump it back in. Just push the plunger till you get to where you want to be. It's not an issue. And if you want to, throw some air in there to reset it, make sure it's set right. And if you want to clear the line so you get precision, do that. Suck up all the stuff that's in here. It leaves it just inside this area. And it gives you your exact amount, which, right on the dot. So put that in. There. Now I normally will do these bottles, line them up and put all of the basic ingredients in first, and then move into the flavoring. That way I don't have to keep switching them around and getting different ones. But I also found doing that, I sometimes, when I mix up different levels, I've got to keep them track as, you know, this is going to be 10%, this will be 5%, this will be 20, stuff like that. It's just, it starts becoming a pain in the butt. I've done too many accidentally messing them up, so right now I'm just going to do one at a time, so I want to make these precision. So I did the flavor. Once I get the flavor done, I move it out of the way. Complete. I've now got the VG done, and the nicotine's done. So all I have left is the propylene glycol. Simple to do. Use the narrow bore diameter needle tip. Actually, I got a little air out of it. And this one calls for 10.5. Even though I can do it I can do it exact precision. I go ahead and just grab the little one, do 10, and then do a 0.5 out of the 1 mil. It's a pain in the butt to do. I'm not going to waste my time. So I'll just take this between those notches. There's 4 of them. I'll go right between the bottom 2 and the top 2, between 10 and 11. It's going to be close enough. I mean, this is basically government work, so... Now with this small of a diameter, it still draws slowly. But it's a whole lot easier to use this than it is the vegetable glycerin. That's how I went above, because this is going to be something that takes more precision. Go above, pull some air, and slowly start dropping it down until I get to the exact location I want to do. You gotta give it a little chance to adjust out. Pop them bubbles in there so I get precision. And now, maybe a hair above, but that looks like 5.5 pretty good. Dump that in. Now I like using this one last. I can really just shove it in there and let it mix the nicotine, the flavor, and the VG. This is the style I'm doing. It mixes it together while I'm making it, and it gets the bubbles in there and kind of, it's still separated, but it helps blend it to begin with. Now I need 5 more. Dogs are barking at someone or something. Alright, now this is where I didn't give it any air to begin with. And what I'm talking about with these syringes is you have air right there by that black plunger. And that can offset your measurements. It's not going to be enough to matter, so don't worry about it if you don't do that. If you want to tap it to get rid of all the air bubbles, to get precision, just tap it and drop it back down. Even doing that was trapped in the needle tip part of it isn't going to be a problem, because it will actually measure from, if you have air, it's from here up. You dump some out, it's still going to be measured the same as up here. Hit that. That all bubbles up. Now it's pre-mixed. I probably need to wash these each time, but since I'm doing these this way, I want to give it some extra time. Keep that stuff out of it. Now I took these out. Some are pain, some are locked into it. You go ahead and just pop them, grab them, just pull them apart, and now you have a lid. Gives you a lot more room for mixing. And that one seemed a little bit firm, so let me try a different one, see if it works better. You kind of got to keep track of which ones are which. Now most of these come with the same style. They're the Desi Vapes, DR2, they're all identical. The original dark bottle had this one, and it might very well be identical, it's just different color. We have a few, I don't have any in here. It was like ripe and ready, and there's a completely different lid. You cannot use it any other way. Now this one, with the label, is going to be a pain, but simply give it a shake. I like to turn it over and shake it a bit more, maybe back and forth. And now you have little air bubbles inside. Now that gives it a good blend. If you had a whisker unit to whisk it up, you could do that if it's small enough. But that gives it a good little blend up. All the things are spread out throughout the juice, and the air will, I guess it helps with the steeping. You can do it I can put it in this hot water and let it steep for a while and it'd be fine. But I like letting them sit and naturally just disperse the flavor. So now I put them in the drawer, close the drawer, and you're done. That is all you have to do to make your own juice. I'm going to make these 5. I'm not going to do it on camera because it'll make this video way too long. These 2,500 cups. I'm not sure how much they cost, but they're dirt cheap. Even have lids if you want to put a lid on and keep it as is. If you're gonna make more juice the next day and don't want to dump it back in the jug, it's a great system. It saves you a lot of money. So, if you're into vaping and you want to get into your own mixes, vapor websites, you can look at them all, see what you get. I like Wizard Labs. It's the best price for everything, and heck, you get 4 ounces the same price as Amazon gives you one. So Shorty found one website. She started picking up these flavors. They were all the Flavor Apprentice, and wow, it ended up being cheaper or more expensive than this stuff. So she did good. She found some things, but I already had Wizard Lab set up to do this, so educated her a bit. But she's not big in the vaping, so I do it. But she was doing her part, and I just was able to show her the better way to do it because it was cheaper. Not better per se, but it was a cheaper option, and we always like going that way. If the flavors were the same, we'd still buy them in store. I still believe 100% in supporting your local brick and mortar stores, because if you don't, they'll go away. So I'll still go to Vapor World in Springfield. I prefer going to South Campbell one. That's going to be my primary place to go for things that I need to get or to ask questions, and I'll still buy something from them. Especially if they have things on sale and discounted. But for juice, I'm making this stuff myself from now on. If I have friends who want some, cool, I can sell it to them at cost, maybe bump it 10% just to offset my time, and $1 for the bottle as a core charge. You want a bottle like this, you pay whatever it costs me to make the juice, which I think is $1, $1.50. Throw in $1 for this, maybe 10% for my time, and then you bring the bottle back. You don't pay for the next core charge. This way, I'm not wasting my bottles by getting them out and never getting them back. I figure it's a good way to go because you can get the plastic bottles cheap. Those aren't too expensive. But I believe in recycling when I can, and this is how I recycle. I reuse it. So if you want to get into this stuff, check out Amazon. Check out Wizard Labs. Wizard Labs is great for your flavors, great for your nicotine. The only thing I'm not too keen on, for 1 gallon of PG is $33.99. You can get it cheaper on Amazon. But the flavors, your nicotine, and if you want to do CBD oil, you can. You can also do your gloves there, test kits, which I have no idea why you'd want those. And you can do your graduated cylinders, beakers, flasks, and funnels, syringes, needles, and pipettes. And you have the little glass containers that depends on what you want. They're 10 mils are 49 cents a piece. I don't know why you do a 3 mil. You can do 15 mils for 53, 30 with a blunt tip. It's a really small one for 55 cents. The 30 mil sticks that some of the juices will come in, so you can carry it with you. It's got a nice dripper tip. It's 55 cents. 50 mils are 59. 120s with that twist knob or twist top like we have for these is $1. And you go into your glass bottles and they go from 79 cents up to $2.19 for a 240 milliliter bottle. So you can do a lot with this stuff. You can get everything you need to do your own juices, make them for your friends. I wouldn't recommend trying to make them to sell them just because I don't know what the government says about that. But at the same time, I've decided if they say we cannot do it, I won't make a juice and give it to a friend. I don't want to break the law. What I will do is set up the exact amount of each item they need. They can come to my house, they can pay me for that, all those items individually, and then they can mix it together and take it with them. I'm not selling them juice. I'm selling them PG. I'm selling them VG. I'm selling them flavoring, and if it's legal, I'll sell them a little bit of nicotine out of mine, and they mix their own juice like they're doing it at home. I'm not mixing it for them. I'm not selling them prepared juice. I'm going to check the legality of that if that becomes an issue, but I mean, personally, I don't see there's a problem. So, keep up with vaping, get off smoking. They may claim it's not safer, but honestly, I've had no problems and I'm breathing just fine. So just do it right, know what you're doing, or learn watching these videos. And I'll update you all when I get the rebuild kit for this unit and for the Cleto. And I'll start doing more of these reviews and videos because I'm no longer able to get stuff from Amazon because they've changed their policy. To hell with them. But that's what it is. I'll let y'all later.